Hello, I'm Lee from thecraftyspark.co.uk and today I'm going to show you how to make this card in a box using the new Flurry of Wishes stamp set that's coming out on the 1st of September. It's one of the new stamp sets from the new autumn winter catalogue that Stampin' Up have issued, and it is the most beautiful stamp set. It's so very pretty. So I'm going to show you how to make this card. See how it stands up like that? And yes, it folds flat. Some people say to me, how do those cards fold flat? Well, they do fold flat. Look, you can do it like that, or you can do it like that. And as long as you're very careful, they will also fit into a standard A6 envelope, which I'm desperately trying to grab. There we go. This is a standard, no, A5, sorry. Not A6, that's mini, isn't it? No, A5. There you go. Look, can you see? So they do fit into the envelope, although you do have to be careful, but I'll show you how to make sure that they fit as we go along. So what we're actually going to do to start with, let me just stand that up, pop that over there. First thing we need to do is get rid of all the glitter that's all over my desk. Right, we need to start off bringing in our Simply scoreboard. What we're going to be doing first is actually making our card base. Now, this piece of card I've already cut so that it measures 8 inches by the standard UK A4 length, which is just over 11.5. But as long as you don't go too far under 11, you're going to be fine with these measurements. What we're going to be doing is we are going to be scoring at 2.75 inches, 5.5 inches, 8.25 inches and 11 inches. We then need to turn our card so we've got the short edge at the top, and we're going to score at 4.25, but we're actually going to be stopping at this third line. If I just move that up a little bit, can you see? So we're going to stop at this third line here. We're not going to be going onto this other line, but she says shoveling up a little bit further. You can see at the bottom of my board I've already got some extra lines marked in. Now I did say in a previous video I do mark my board at 3, 6, 9 and 12, and this is one of the reasons why. But because I do make a lot of these card in a box style cards, I also have another mark at the bottom so that I can match up my little one at the bottom too. Alright, so like I said, stopping at that third line, we're going to go from 4.25, stop at the third line, and then just mark at the bottom at 4.25. Now I suppose what you could do if you wanted to, you could actually just turn your card over that way and mark it so that you're still at the top. It's just that I like to keep it easy and do it around the other way. Alright, so that's our scoring done. Whoops, sorry about that, just crashed on the board there. Now, using your scissors, this shorter edge, or shorter side I should say, is the one we're going to score. I hope you can see this all right. I've put the lights on today because it's really, really dull, and I'm just hoping that it's actually not going to cause too many shadows. But we're going to cut just to that centre line there on those 3, and then on our final one cut to your centre line, or your centre score I should say, not your centre line, and then just nip that off at an angle. Okay, if you see how I've put the angle on that one, same on the other edge, just nip it off at an angle. Okay, now silly me, forgot to charge the battery on the camera, so I might have to stop in a minute so that I can charge up, but we'll keep going for the moment. Now, whoops, fold it over. We need to fold and burnish all our score lines. And then these ones we're going to fold outwards. Okay, so fold those. Don't burnish those ones too hard though, because you want them to stand out just a little bit. Not a huge amount, obviously. You don't want them at a right angle, but you do want them to stand out a bit. Now grab your glue, pop some glue just on that edge there, and fold it over. Stick that down, and that will actually give you the start of your card. Okay, so that's the beginning of our card. Now what we need to do is put our bars across the middle. I've already cut 2 strips of card for that. These both measure 3.75 by 1, and then I've scored in each end at half. Alright, we need to fold opposite ways so we end up with zigzags like that. Okay, and then we glue them in. So a little dot of glue on one end. Oops, let's put that over there for a minute. Now there's no rhyme or reason of exactly where to put them, but try and space them quite evenly. So I don't know, inch and an inch and a little bit kind of thing, so they're relatively even. Put that one in. Now I glue both sides at the same time. How you decide to do it, entirely up to you, but I find this way is the easiest, and using glue allows you to wiggle them around a little bit as well. Alright, so when we fold, they will tuck round and they will fold nice and flat. Alright, let's just pop some glue on the other end. Oops, tuck that back in there. Now rather than trying to match up that end, I find it easier just to pop it in, make sure they're fairly flat, and then just fold your card, give it a squeeze, and there you've got it. Fold it the other way just to make sure that they're lying nice and flat, and there we go. Alright, that was easy, wasn't it? Let's just wipe some of that extra glue off in there. Alright, so that is the actual basics of how to make a card in a box card. Now a lot of people say to me, oh, I can't do that, that's too difficult, it's really complicated, but it's not really, is it? When you actually look at it, the basic concept isn't actually as bad as you think it's going to be. Right, now we need to start decorating. Right, have another try because I've charged the battery up a bit more, so hopefully will last. Sorry, I've got an itch. Right, while that was charging, I've stuck some of the panels onto the outside of the card. Now, this card, I've made it out of Night of Navy cardstock, and this gorgeous, look at it, how pretty is that? Can you see that lovely snowflake paper? That is from one of the new sets that's coming out. Oops, let me just move that out of the way, otherwise you'll be surrounded by lanterns. But look at all this lovely paper. You see it? How pretty is that? Now this is the new Seasons of Cheer set that's coming out on the 1st of September, and as always you can buy mini packs of this paper directly from me. So rather than a big pack, if you want to, I also do the very small, well not very small, the smaller 6x6 packs. Now this particular pack, if you buy a whole pack, is £10. If you want the 6x6 pack, you can actually buy it straight from my website for £2.50, obviously plus postage. But you've got double sides. Look at it, isn't it gorgeous? Very, very pretty. And as always, perfectly colour coordinated as well. But the one that I'm using today, just move those out of the way, is this one. And look, it's got a lovely sort of variated shading on it, which looks really, really nice on the card. So what I've done is I've used that as the actual patterned paper, or designer series paper as Stampin' Up call it, and I've backed it with silver glimmer paper or glitter paper, just to give it a nice shimmery one. And when I've stuck this on, if you look down the side there, I think you can just about see it, I've actually used the dimensionals to stick these panels on only because I want them to sort of pop out just a little bit. So let me just pop a couple more on just to finish off. Oops, that's a little bit on the back. Make sure I'm in the camera, otherwise I could be showing my next door neighbour through, you know, couldn't I? There we go, there's one. And another one, where did I put the dimensionals? See, looks lovely lanterns on the back. I'm going to use that for something else. Maybe another one of these cards actually, because I do like doing these cards. They're my favourite type of card. But I'm going to be doing another one soon as well. Not a Christmas one. I've got a flowery one coming up, because a friend of mine, every time she sees them, she says, oh, you've got to do one with flowers on them. Because I do quite a few flowery ones. If you have a look on my website, you'll see them. But the flowery ones do look rather nice. So I'm going to be doing another one of those soon. And also in the new catalogue coming up, we've got some wonderful Halloween papers. So I thought I might do a Halloweeny one as well. There we go. So pop those on there. Alright, so that's the basis of our card. I've put a panel on the back as well. Now you're not really going to see a huge amount of that panel if I bring the other one back in. But obviously when you're looking at it on a camera, you're only seeing the front of it. But if you actually give this to somebody and they start having a good old search around, you can see some of it just inside there. So just to finish it off, I always like to make sure the back's covered too. Right, so that's the basis of our card done. Now the next thing we need are snowflakes. So I've gone ahead and I've used the lovely Flurry of Wishes set. Now this set does actually come with a punch for these two smaller ones, which I'm quite disgusted with myself, and I have to say I've lost it. I'm not sure where I've put it, but it will turn up at some point. But you can get, there is a punch that comes with these two, which you buy as a bundle if you want to, or you can just buy it on its own. You've got this lovely sort of medium sized one, which works really well with the flower medallion punch, and then you've got the big punch and a couple of sentiments as well. But for this card I'm only actually using, well, I was going to say I'm only actually using these three and some sentiments, but that's really the whole lot, isn't it? The only one I'm not using is the one that says Merry Christmas. Oh well, never mind. I know what I'm doing, honestly. Right, so what I've done is I've done my big ones already. Now I've embossed it with some white embossing powder, and then I've sponged the edges, and I've done the same on some smaller ones as well. Okay, now to start putting the card together, there is no set way of doing this. I've had people say to me, well, how many do you put on the back, how many do you put in the middle, how many do you put around the side? It doesn't matter, just plop them on is my advice. Any way you like, just plop them on. I tend to start upside down, because start from the back and you work yourself forwards. Okay, now this is my method. You may find that you have your own way of doing it. This one works for me, and I like doing it this way. I just get some glue, and yes, it hasn't got a label on it. I know I have a darling son that pulls labels off of everything, including my glues, but this is actually the multi-purpose glue. What I do is I just run a line around the outside and a little bit on the middle. Okay, then lay a couple of your flowers or snowflakes, whatever you're using, around the edge until you've got roughly the kind of pattern you want to go for. I tend to alternate them just to make it look a bit different, and also stagger the height as well. Alright, so if we start, I'm going to pop that one there. Now don't go too high, otherwise it's not going to fit in your envelope. That one's going to go there, and then I'm going to pop that one there. Now those two will go at the bottom, alright, because you will see the bottom. We don't want a bare bottom bit. Nobody likes a bare bottom, do they? But when you're doing these ones, I'll just pull those back a bit. Don't put these two too wide, because that will again prevent them going into your envelope. So don't let them stick out too much. And then this one can go just sort of down and in. Right, where was I? Just had to stop there, sorry about that. Covered in glitter, yes, I know where we were. Right, so we're going to start building the layers up now. I'm going to pop some glue just on that first line there. You see? There we go. And I've already, whoops, stick them two in there. Now that did look a bit very prepared, which yes it was, but I just had to fiddle about popping them in there like that. I'll show you the next one though. This is what happens, you see, when you use cameras that you're not used to. They stop recording when you don't even realise. But so I ended up with two stuck together there, and I hadn't actually put them on the card, so I do apologise. Oh, and something else I've just remembered as well. All the measurements for these panels, they will all be on my blog, so don't worry, you will be told. Right, so I've put two on there. They're going to act as like the foundation for building up the rest of our layers. And all we're going to do is just plop them on, really. So put a dollop of glue on onto the back and stick that one. Another dollop on there. Stick that one. See how I'm bringing them out? So they're starting to come outwards now. Let's go with one of these ones. Put one of these in the middle. Oop, try not to drop it because you'll end up with glue everywhere. Like that. Now if you keep checking the width of your card, I'll bring the envelope back in. This is where we have to watch how wide we're going, because I'll just fold those down. If you put your card on your envelope, I know I'm upside down, but actually let's go around the other way. That'll be the right way. So if we pop our card on our envelope, and you can see I've still got a bit of gap at the top, so I know I'm alright there. But I need to watch this side. I mustn't go any wider. That's why I had to be a little bit careful on the back panel. But this panel, which is the one we're doing now, if I bring it up, I have still got a bit of width there if I need it. Alright, so that's just something for you to keep an eye on. You just keep folding it down and putting it onto your envelope. It will give you a better idea of how much width you've got left. Now this one I've gone on top, on top, on top, but this one I'm actually going to put behind, because I want it to have a layered effect, and I also don't want to end up with a very uniform looking card, because that's not what you're aiming for when you do these kind of cards. You want them to look nicely packed out, and the more packed out they are, the more effective they will look. I'm going to do another one on the other side. Now you also don't want to go too symmetrical either, because if you're going too symmetrical, again, they don't look so effective. So can you see I'm actually slightly higher on this side than I am on this side, and I'm still working with my card upside down. There we go. Right, I think that'll be about it for that layer. Yeah, that looks good. Right, now again we have our line just in there. There we go. Turn it round. You can't really see it very well, can you, because it's so dark. Let me put a line of glue on it, you should see it then. There you go. How's that? This time I'm going to go with a lighter two and put those at the front, because like I said, they will act as our foundation for our layers. Now it's quite important that these ones are stuck, because if they're not stuck, then the rest of your snowflakes or your flowers or whatever you use aren't going to work. They'll just fall off. Just pop a little bit in there so that those two stick to each other. There we go, that's it. That hold nice and solid. Okay, let's get some more of these on. Let's go for a couple of, whoops, can't pick them up. Dark one. Now I'm already dark there, so I don't want to go too dark on there. I don't want to end up with lots of dark ones at the top and not light ones at the top, so I think I'll just pop that one there and I'll pop this one at the top. Now you don't have to use them all, just because you've made them all. I don't think you have to actually use them all, it doesn't matter. Your card's going to look just as nice whether you use all of them or not, or hardly any of them. It's all really down to how higgledy-piggledy you put them as to how well it's going to look. Right, there we go, we've got two spare there, don't need those two. What do you think? If I turn it out that way, can you see how they're sort of all over the place? The more all over the place you go, the better you're actually going to make them look. Right, now we've done that one, we're going to lay it down because I want to put some snowflakes on here. Now, I've already got these. These are the new snowflake elements. They're actually wooden. Not that you can see that very well, but they're actually wood. And what I've done is I've painted them with white acrylic paint, and then I've covered them with glue. And then the secret ingredient is the Dazzling Diamonds, which as usual is amongst all my desk somewhere. But we have this absolutely fantastic glitter, so very fine and so super sparkly. I don't even know if you can see how sparkly that actually is. It's so pretty. But what I've done is I've painted them white, covered them in the Dazzling Diamonds glitter. Look, I've got quite a few of them. Went a bit over the top actually, I probably didn't need to make that many. But what I've done is I've also put one of the, whoops, rhinestones in the middle, just to give it a bit more shiny. And on the card, I'm only going to put them on the top where I can see a full centre. See, some of these have actually got the centres covered up. Those aren't going to have one stuck on. I'm only going to do it on the ones with the full centre. And I'm going to use just glue dots to put them on. So just bear with me a second while I pop some of these on. Oops, go on there. I've done some of the bigger ones and I've stuck them on to window sheet strips. Can you see that? Oh. There you go. Because I want these to actually almost sort of be freestanding. Now to put these on, again, back on the trusted glue dots, you need to make sure you don't put your glue dots on the wrong side. Oops, let's move that out of the way. So I'm going to start with, this one will actually go just about there, I reckon. So because I haven't put the back on of the card there yet, I'm going to put this one, just lay it over some glue dots and pull them off. See, one of the reasons why I roll it, my glue dots around the other way. Now this time you might want to stand your card up just so that you can see where you're going. So that one, I want it to go overlap just slightly because I want it to give that three-dimensional effect going again. There we are, there's that one on. Just stick that down on the back there. Right, next one. Now this one, see how I've left a bit of a gap there? So that one can go sort of slightly off-centre there. And then we'll have another one, probably like that. There we go, in the middle. So it creates a a nice sort of swirly effect I'm going for. And then this last one I'm going to put there. Oh, it would help if I was actually in the camera, wouldn't it? Sorry about that. There, can you see that? So I've done a kind of a swirly effect. So I'm going to stick these on. Let's just pop some more glue dots on the back of... Yeah. So can you see how they've kind of gone on a bit of a circly bit? Right, now we're going to do our side parts. Now for the side bits, oops, these ones here, this is where we've used a large one, then a white one. And you might not be able to see that under there, but I have actually put a silver glittered star, but in hindsight I don't really think I need it because there's so much sparkle from that Dazzling Diamonds glitter. No, it's probably going to be alright without it actually. Let's have a try, shall we? See what we look like. So we're going to take one of our larger snowflakes, turn it over, hunt down the dimensionals because I want these to stand out nicely on the back. So I'm going to go with dimensionals on that one, and then again on that one. And then where did I put those glue dots? I've got a big long flappy bit now. Look. Let's take one of them off. Whoopsie daisy. Hang on, I've stuck to my thumb again. Let's try that one again, shall we? Put that on there. Let's pop that in the centre. Do you know what? I don't think that really looks much different. That one to that one. Oh, yeah, maybe a little bit more sparkly. Not a huge amount though, does it? I think we'd get away with it either way, to be honest. Right, pull those off. Let's just, oops. Trying to get it nice and central. There we go. Got that on there. And then I can pop that on there. Now obviously I am going to put one on either side. I'm not just going to put one on the one side, but because I'm just showing you how to make it today, I'm not going to be putting them on both sides at the moment. Obviously the finished card will have it on both sides, but that's how it's going to look. Alright, so just sat on the side. And I'm also, oops, if I can pick it up, where I've put my snowflake on the front, I'm going to put one of the larger ones just behind it as well, just to finish that front edge, because otherwise it looks a little bit lost, doesn't it? So let's just put a nice dollop of glue on there. Do like me dollops of glue. Tuck that behind that snowflake because that will help to hold the snowflake in place as well. Now if you just offset it again like before, so it's not too perfect, but nothing's too perfect in nature, is it? Everything's a little bit squiffy. There we go. There. Now, to do our front, wow, look at all that glitter. Can you see that on the camera? There is loads of it. This is the front of our card. So, what I'm going to do now is this one here. Whoops. Now, I've already... Oh, I can't pick it up. Come here. That's it. I've already cut out, using the Lots of Labels die, one in the silver glimmer paper. I've done one in the next size down, and I've embossed it, stamped it and embossed it. Look how lovely and shiny that is. Isn't that pretty? And what I'm going to do is with my Soft Sky ink pad, I am going to find my stamps. There we go. We're going to bring them in, and I'm actually going to be using these two because I want to just put a little bit of interest onto that front label. So ink up. Now, which way should we go? Let's just go that way. Just a nice angle. You could stamp first if you wanted to. You could emboss first. To be honest, I don't particularly think it makes a huge amount of difference. Oh no, I want that out for a minute, don't I? Because now I've put that on, I also... Dun, 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 where am I? Oh, there we are. I want to match it up with the colouring that I did on the other one. So using the Night of Navy again. Just going to go around that edge. Just gives it a little bit of definition. Just makes it stand out a bit more. Let's go right the way around. Now this time I'm not going in too far because I don't want it, this blue, to go over too much. There we go, that's it. This is the one that I want it to go on, so using the Soft Sky, because I've done the Soft Sky snowflake, I'm just going to put a bit more of this one on it just to blend it in a little bit more. Let me go round. All the way round. And I think I might even put a bit of silver on the edge as well, just to give it a bit more of a glimmer, like I did on the last one when I was doing it on the bigger ones. Yeah, why not? Where's that silver gone again? Let's just run that over the edge. I'm just really stroking this one, I'm not really touching it at all, but it's just to mute down that Night of Navy. There we go. That's it. That looks lovely. Right, some more dimensionals on the back. Because this is a special Christmassy card, I'm using quite a lot of dimensionals. Ordinarily, I'd just use double-sided tape. But as we're going special Christmas ones, just want to make it pop a little bit. Oh, come off. There we go. So, let's get that nice and central. Whoop. I'm going to have to look in the camera for this to try and get it central. No, I'm not, so excuse my head if it appears. That's it. Stick that down. Some more on the back. Oh, got an extra one come off there. Oh, why not? Let's stick that on as well. It's not going to make any difference, is it? Bring a card in. There we go. Now let's go at a nice angle. There. That's it. Right. Now just to finish off, I've got a couple more snowflakes. So I'm going to find the end of my dots. I've got rather a long line of them going on now. Let's put a snowflake on there. Whoop. Don't actually want to cover it up. There we are. Sending you a flurry of warm Christmas wishes. Oh, isn't that nice? Okay, so that's the front of our card done. Well, apart from that one, that is anyway. But that's the front. Now for the back, you don't want it looking like that, do we? That looks awful. So I have, let's move that out of the way for a minute. Let's bring this in. I'll show you a little tip here. I've already stamped up the back of my card with one of the stamps that are still in the same Flurry of Wishes set. I've put some snowflakes on as well. But if you look on the back of this one, I've already put some glitter just around the edge. Now the reason I've done it like that and I haven't actually used the glimmer paper is because I want maximum area to write on. And when you're using the glimmer paper, or when you're using any kind of backing and you're doing this, you tend to cut your inner layer roughly 1/4 of an inch smaller than the outer one. So if I cut this one in by 1/4 of an inch smaller so that it fits on the glimmer paper, I'm actually going to lose quite a bit of my writing area. So this is my way around it. I have a tray. I have, turn it around the right way, the Stampin' Up! Two-way glue pen. Now it's called two-way. It's quite clever, this pen, actually, because you can use it as a wet glue, or if it dries it goes sticky, so it kind of creates a bit of a sticker effect going on. And what I do is just using just the edge of the pen. I just want to run it. Can you see it going on blue? It does actually dry clear. I just want to run it right the way around the edge of the card. Oops, let's try and keep it even. I'm going to go all the way round the edge. Oops. It's like that song, isn't it? It's so quiet. Shh, shh. No, I won't sing. I'm a terrible singer. Right, so I've gone all the way around the edge. Now I've got some of our beautiful Stampin' glitter. Now the Stampin' Up! Glitter is so fine. It is beautiful. The Dazzling Diamonds is amazing. The silver is amazing. It's all amazing. But I'm going to just tap out just a little line. Now the reason I'm doing it in this tray is because I don't want to waste any, because I hate wasting things. But I also don't want too much of it everywhere. And all I'm going to do, if I hold this up to the camera a bit, is just push it in. You see? And it sticks. Just stick it to the edges. That's all I want to do. So it's almost like you're using the card as a kind of a shovel, for want of a better phrase. I'm sure someone will think of something that makes much more sense than, oh, use the back of your card as a shovel. But that's all I'm doing. I'm just sort of pushing it into that glitter, and it's giving me a beautiful, let's give it a good tap, because otherwise I'll end up with it everywhere and my husband will start shouting at me because I'll end up with glitter all over the house. Let's move that over there. But can you see, it's just left just a very fine line all the way around the edge. Isn't that lovely? See what I mean? Glitter everywhere. Oh, and it's all over my hands. Never mind. Right, so now we need to do is stick it onto the back of our cards. I'll use some very strangely named snail, which is excellent double-sided snail adhesive. It's just double-sided tape in it, this handy little contraption, I'll call it, because I can't think of what the real name is. Casing? Is that what you could call it? Yeah, I suppose you could call it a casing, couldn't it? And then we can just line it up onto the back of our card. There we go. Stick it down. Beautiful. Whoops. Smudge the ink there a little bit. This silver ink does take a little while to dry. Now, if you really want to finish off, you can see the back. Doesn't look too bad on camera, but you can see the backs on there. There's nothing to stop you just sticking onto the back as well, like that. And there you have a card in a box, beautifully decorated with your Flurry of Wishes stamp set. And just to prove a point, my envelope, my card. Look at that. Oh, just slightly too high there. Slightly too high on that snowflake. But if I'd kept checking it, that would have been perfect and it would have fitted just right into my card, and I can still fold those up as well, look. To be honest though, this one's quite a special one, and because it's Christmas I'm actually going to put it into a box, I think. Yeah, I think I'll make a box for it because it just look much nicer, won't it? So there you go. There is one card in a box, Flurry of Wishes, snowflake card. Thank you for joining me. Anything you need, it will all be on my website, www.thecraftyspark.co.uk. If you need any of the dimensions for these parts that are cut, those sizes are also going to be on my blog, on my website. Thank you for joining me. See you soon.